Hi guys, I'm back again today with another video, and today we're checking out is Groningen, the most walkable city in the world. Talking about walkable city, it would be nice to compare. This place is not walkable. It's nice to walk at some parts where it's walkable, but overall it's not very walkable like I told you yesterday. So I'm really intrigued to compare. So yeah, before we start, don't forget to subscribe, click the bell button, and let's begin.
Groningen is a city of some 200,000 people in the Netherlands. When I first visited the place in 2018, it blew me away. I was certain that we could improve our cities everywhere if we could just get people to spend a weekend here. So, in November of 2021, I did just that and made a video of it for you. You see, Groningen was a forerunner in making its city center car-free and people-friendly. Today, the place is amazingly lively, with lots of nightlife. This footage was shot, by the way, during the pandemic. And even though it wasn't very warm, there were lots of people on the streets and at restaurants and cafes. So in this video, I want to show you what even a mid-sized town can look like. Walkability is not just for big cities. To learn more, I met up with this guy, Benny Lamehouse. Benny Lamehouse in my ears and in my eyes.
Also ich bin Benny Leemhuis, ich bin nun 49 Jahre alt, ich wohne fast mein ganzes Leben hier in Groningen, bin hier geboren und ich bin seit 2010 Mitglied der Gemeinderat und meine spezielle Aufgabe im Rat ist Mobilität.
Benny was kind enough to walk through town with me so that you, dear viewer, could see the main highlights. It turns out that Groningen may have invented the idea of superblocks in 1977. Let's take a look at a map of Groningen. The blue ring is where cars can drive around the center, which is divided into these 4 sectors or superblocks. Cars can reach any building in any sector, but not cross from one sector into the other. So there is no through traffic. In his presentations, Benny shows how a cyclist or pedestrian can thus reach a building directly, shown here in green, but a car has to take this route, shown in yellow. Benny's main message is that Groningen hasn't always been people-centric. The Dutch had to fight for it.
Die Stadt Groningen ist, anders als viele Leute manchmal denken, auch eine Stadt gewesen bis in die 70er Jahren, wo viele Autos hier auch in der Innenstadt gefahren sind.
In dieser Straße hinter dir hätte man Autos gesehen.
Ja, sicher. Hier gab es Spuren, Asphalt und ich könnte ein paar Fotos zeigen.
Okay, yeah.
Or we could just look at the photos in his presentations online. Benny shows photos like these with cars covering the entire city center, like here on the fish market, which looks like this today. Yes, it's an actual market. And yet, Groningen has exactly the same history as other cities when it comes to trams. This is a video from 100 years ago. Now, Groningen only has buses. All the tram lines were torn out after World War II to make space for cars. And as elsewhere, shop owners in Groningen initially thought their customers came by car, so many of them initially opposed plans to make the city center car-free. But gradually, they realized that more people can fit into these streets than cars can. And cars don't actually do the shopping, people do.
Das war ein bisschen traumatisch für diese Unternehmen. Die haben wirklich gestritten dagegen.
Sind die pleite gegangen?
Ich würde sagen, jetzt ist hier eine ruhige Straße, aber wir haben die Stadt gesehen, es ist voller Menschen.
Diese Straße ist ruhig?
Diese Straße ist ruhig, ja. Die ist sicher ruhig. Die Läden sind nicht pleite gegangen. Die Stadt ist interessanter geworden. Leute gehen gerne in die Stadt, weil sie laufen können, weil sie fahren können mit dem Fahrrad. Und das Auto kann man in Parkhäusern parken, kann man außerhalb der Stadt bei Park and Rides parken.
Park and ride. Parking and riding only costs €6 for up to 5 people, including the bus fare. Far cheaper than parking inside the ring.
In der Innenstadt ist 60% der Verkehrsmittel ist Fahrrad, mehr als 60%. Außerhalb der Stadt ist das Auto für mehr als 60% das Verkehrsmittel, das am meisten gebraucht wird. Und da haben wir ein Problem. Wir sind eine mittelalterliche Stadt mit wenig Platz und mit vielen Fahrrädern in der Innenstadt. Da mussten wir also rund um die Stadt haben wir ziemlich progressiv und schnell viele also Park and Rides gemacht. Also
Okay.
wo die Leute mit ihrem Auto nach Groningen kommen, dort können sie umsteigen auf ein Fahrrad, die man leihen kann oder dort hinstellen kann, aber natürlich auch unsere Busse, die sehr zuverlässig sind.
Benny says the shop owners are now happy that people come by bike rather than by car. In fact, one of the steps the city took to slow down the pandemic was that people could no longer park their bikes everywhere in the center of town. Benny says that didn't go over well with shop owners.
What camera is he using? Is somebody else holding a camera behind them? Or is it a drone? What is happening?
Und es gab Unternehmen, die protestiert haben. Die haben gesagt, wir brauchen die Fahrräder, die Fahrradfahrer in unsere Straße, weil alle unsere Kunden kommen ja mit dem Fahrrad. Und von dem her ist es also total geändert, als wie das in den 70er Jahren war, als die Unternehmen davon überzeugt waren, dass die Leute ihre Kunden mit dem Auto gekommen sind. Das ist also nicht mehr so.
Let's talk about bike parking for a minute. Groningen is full of bikes, and I can understand people saying that this is too much. But Benny has a clear opinion on this.
Gesegnet ist eine Stadt mit einem Fahrradparkproblem, weil wenn all diese Leute ja mit dem Auto gekommen wären, da wäre es noch ein größeres Verkehrsinfarkt.
But the city is taking action here as well. One small thing is visible behind him already: the red carpet.
Also was wir hier sehen, ist ein roter Teppich und auf diesem roten Teppich parken Leute ihren Fahrrad nicht. Also wenn es hier viele Leute gibt, am Samstag zum Beispiel, gibt es viele Leute hier in dieser Straße und dann parken die ihr Fahrrad auch hier in der Straße, aber die Leute parken das nicht auf dem roten Teppich.
You have to admit, the Dutch are pretty disciplined
Ooh,
about
Burger
parking their bikes
King.
in clusters to take up less space. Benny showed me the biggest bike parking lot, unsurprisingly at the university library in the center of town.
Wie man hier sieht, der Uni ist hier, es gibt viele junge Leute in Groningen, es studieren viele Leute hier, die kommen ja manchmal mit dem Fahrrad, aber jeder fährt Fahrrad. Meine Mutter, sie ist 79 Jahre alt, wird im Januar 80 und fährt noch immer mit ihrem Fahrrad in die Stadt, kauft ihre Sachen in der Stadt bei den Läden, so mit dem Fahrrad. Und meine Söhne, 9 und 7, die fahren auch Fahrrad in der Schule.
But the city is doing even more.
Hier an der Bahnhof, das ist natürlich eine wichtige Stelle, wo Leute mit dem Fahrrad zu dem Bahnhof kommen und dann weiterfahren im ganzen Land weiter. Und deswegen haben wir unter dieser Platz hier und hinter mir ist der große Fahrradparkplatz. Und in den nächsten Jahren wird es eine Ausbreitung kommen, da wird es einen Tunnel unter dem Bahnhof kommen, wo die Fahrräder zum Südseite fahren können und dort kommt ein neues Fahrradparkhaus für 5000 Fahrräder.
Und wenn jemand außerhalb lebt und mit dem Zug in die Stadt fährt, da kann man auch sein eigenes Auto hier, Fahrrad hier lassen.
Ja, in diesem Fahrradparkplatz kann man das Fahrrad parken, es kostet kein Geld. Es gibt hier auch Leihräder, also OV-Feeds, die kann man auch auf dem Bahnhof mieten, wenn man dann ein Abo hat.
And there is another underground bike parking lot at the Central Grand Square. What happens where cars nonetheless meet with cyclists? Benny told us there is a special solution at the edge of town where cars become dominant. Basically, the cars all have a red light at once when cyclists all have green.
Das hier ist der Heeresstraat, das ist eine alte, wichtige Straße. Die geht zum Süden. Das ist eine wichtige Fahrradachse, wo etwa 13.000 Fahrradfahrer pro Tag kommen. An einer Seite würde man sagen, das ist ja ein totales Chaos. Wie weiß man, woher ein Fahrradfahrer fahren will? Aber der Vorteil ist, Fahrradfahrer, ja, die können zusammen ja fast keine Unfälle machen. Aber die sind also getrennt von den Bussen.
Ja, warum? Weil sie sich in die Augen schauen, oder?
Ja, genau. Der Punkt ist, man achtet einander. Man schaut zu den anderen, geht er schneller, geht er langsamer, geht er rechts, geht er geradeaus. Und ja, manchmal sagen, wie ich das auch mache, sage ich, du kannst vor mich gehen.
Können wir wenn die Autos weg sind, können wir die Ampeln abschaffen?
Sicher, sicher. Wir haben Orte, wo es keine Autos mehr fahren und dann braucht man ja keine Ampel. Das ist sicher, wir haben mehrere.
Just look at this. If you ever needed evidence that we could get rid of traffic lights entirely because they're only needed for cars, this is it. There's lots more to extol here. For instance, the safe space for pedestrians and cyclists is also good for the handicapped. Car drivers behave themselves and don't push their way through, probably because they are also often cyclists. And there are so many pedestrians that the city sometimes puts up arrows to make the
That's a good, how do you call it? Like, that's a good way to analyze it because, yeah, most probably everyone cycles. And then we have a few that have a car and that alternates depending on what you're doing, where you're going, right? But over here, obviously, probably like 5% of the population will cycle. Maybe that's even too high. And the rest, a majority of people don't, or let's say the population that drives will not necessarily know what is it to be a cyclist, so they just have this ego of like, I own the road and I don't care what happens, right? So yeah, so it's kind of like different attitude behind the wheel here versus there.
traffic flow better. And finally, the Dutch don't rely on speed limit signage. They design roads for the speeds they want. On our last day, we went to a festival called Let's Grow. It was held at the Forum, a modern new building in the city center. The festival not only showed citizens what their town looked like and what its history was, but also what changes are planned.
Oh, wow.
Hey everyone, your Grand Market, the one with all these buses, is going to become an open square, with buses soon also parking on the edge of the center. Other locals gathered around this rendition of a new section of town. I can't really tell you what we're seeing here, but what amazed me was the transparency and inclusion. Does your city have events where citizens can see 3D models of plans? Have you ever gone to such an event? Groningen makes it easy for you to take part by giving you a glorious ambiance to hang out in. During the festival, you could listen to music, grab a bite to eat. Yes, I ate that, and I'm not sure what it is, but boy, was it good.
It's like
And then you could
depending
take
what it
part
is,
in
like
workshops
pork
on topics
flakes
like
or
the biosphere and what will Groningen be like when it gets hotter. Let's Grow is literally a festival about the future of Groningen. So a city whose citizens pushed against pro-car city planners half a century ago now regularly listens to what its citizens want before making new plans. But my favorite part was this exhibit on how people feel about climate change. So I talked to the two ladies behind the exhibit.
Who's behind Let's Grow? Okay.
Can we start
But
with a different
listen,
question?
the thing is, Let's Grow is a festival, and we asked Let's Grow, can we be here, a part of your festival?
Yeah.
Okay.
But this, we could do this object anywhere, really.
Yeah.
But Let's Grow is all about the future and about nature and climate, so we said it's smart if we are here.
And so you are artists, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Let's Grow is a festival that is funded by the gemeente Groningen, which is the municipality.
Yeah.
So it's a kind of a way to reach to citizens and talk about issues like the climate change.
Yeah.
Okay, but before you could do this, you had to ask a bunch of citizens a question, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
So in January this year, during the Climate Week, we had a project together, our first collaboration.
Yeah.
And then we asked 500 citizens of the city of Groningen, what do you feel when you look into the future? Citizens said a variety of different answers and emotions, and that it was also one of our goals to show that all emotions coexist together and emotions are in constant movement. Because one day maybe I feel very scared after hearing the news of the IPCC or the climate report, and another day I might feel very hopeful. So it is also to show, okay, you're not alone in your feeling.
Let me ask you, you're the artist, why are you dealing with climate change in your art?
Well, currently nowadays I believe art is much more not only about aesthetics, but more about addressing societal issues and art as a means to create a conversation piece.
Yes. Getting people involved. We want to know what they feel. We want them to think about it. Because often people haven't really thought about it. Or, yeah, we met quite a few people who said, oh, I don't know. And when you stand there and talk together, people start thinking about it. That's what we want.
Are you two aware that Groningen is a leading city for cycling in the world?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. For us, it's so normal to cycle, but for me, it's very normal to cycle. She has more difficulties with it when it's cold.
That's true.
Yes.
Yeah, when you're a foreigner and you have to get used to all the cycling culture of Groningen, that takes some time.
Okay, where are you from?
I'm from Bulgaria.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's cold in Bulgaria.
That's what she said as well, but it's not only about it being cold.
We are used to when it rains, just put on a rain jacket and just go.
You are about to witness a Dutch person not able to think of getting into a car because it is raining.
And in a lot of countries, when it rains, you move differently. I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you do when it rains?
Or I'm from a very big capital city where everyone goes around with a car.
Oh right, yes.
So,
Yep, same here. Oh, it's raining. Let's take the car. I don't even think it's an option just because it's raining. Anytime. Oh, it's sunny. Let's take the car. Oh, it's a normal day. Let's take a car. Oh, it's traffic. Let's take the car. Oh, let's take the car. Oh, it's across the street. Let's take the car. That's how people are here. And yes, it is an Asian country, but you would think it's an American country because people are just lazy. And also, we have like a very, very terrible public transportation ish. The jeepneys are amazing, and in my city, the taxis are amazing. But overall, like compared to our neighboring countries, we don't even come close when it comes to public transportation. So it's not necessarily like an option most of the time. So people would stick to their cars.
to go into the city, I never use the car. I wouldn't know where to park it really. My cousin came over from England. She's like, yeah, let's go into the city. I said, yeah, here's a bike. She's like, no, I can't cycle. I said, what? How are we going to get into the city? She said, we could take a bus. I said, oh, it'll be my first time on a bus.
Jenny Lame likes to show a lot of photographs of how concentric his Dutch hometown used to be. Now everybody needs to come and see walkability. The townsfolk love to cycle whether they are young or old. Shop owners started off as skeptics, now they're sold. You know the Dutch will cycle in the cold and the pouring rain. It's not a pain.
Wow, nice. I like that song, but it was like, where did it come from? But anyways, yeah, different. You know, like when you grow up in different places, you just have different thoughts. Like for example, if somebody says bicycle, we will have different like first word that will come out of our mouth. Maybe some people, when you say bicycle, some people will be like, amazing, let's do it. And then maybe when you say bicycle here in the Philippines, they'll be like, are you a child? Because they think only kids ride bicycles. Or are you like a cyclist? Like, are you competing? Like, are you like, those people who cycle as like a sport? Like, are you a cyclist? Those are, I think, the two things that people will ask if you mention bicycle in the Philippines. They'll be like, oh, like, how old are you? Because they think kids ride around their bicycle in the neighborhood, or if they see that you're clearly older, then they'll be like, oh, do you cycle as your job, or something like that. But obviously if you say it in the Netherlands or in other cycling countries, they'll be like, oh, let's do it, it sounds great. Right? Well, anyways, beautiful peeps, thank you for joining, and I'm really happy for this city wherein it's more walkable and it looks really nice to walk around too. um there's space for you to walk. You don't have to necessarily like be worried that somebody, I mean, a car is gonna like hit you. You can just walk freely and window shop as you do so, right? I think I mentioned this before. Here you cannot listen to music whilst walking, or even look at your phone whilst walking, because there are a lot of circumstances wherein cars have like hit people, and obviously they don't have the time and reaction, or they can't hear to like move away or run away because they're like on their phone or they're listening to music. Like they can't hear the incoming, like, and also it happens like really fast. Like even if you're not on your phone or you're not listening to music, I don't even think you can avoid it if it's happening quickly, right? Sometimes you freeze. um So yeah, that's one way of like them lowering the risk of you getting into an accident, but I feel like there's better ways. But so far this is what we got. So anyways, beautiful peeps, I will see you tomorrow. Bye.